Inventory has been a huge buzzword for us over the last few years, right?
Yes.
Huge. It's inventory, inventory, inventory. Where is it? Why don't we have any? All of this stuff.
I mean,
what do we think is happening now in Chicago?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I got in real estate in 2009. It was a buzzword back then. The difference is it swung completely opposite. Back then it was, hey, we have 36 months of inventory. Now we're at 1.7 to like 3%. And it really just depends on the neighborhood that we're in. But what this means is that the rate that buyers are purchasing, this is how long it's taking to sell through those properties. And it does vary on a monthly basis. Like we've gone up, we've gone down, and we typically see it go up during seasonality.
Sure.
We're seeing that this year, probably a little bit more than what we were expecting. But last year, we had the opposite issue in the pandemic, which set our spring market a little bit crazier, was we went into, normally during the seasonal months, we have 5 months of inventory. That's been normal for the last 6 years. Now what we're seeing is 3% going into it. So we're half of the rate that we normally have been, and now.
Well, and I think that brings up a great point. So, right, inventory has been, or let me rephrase that, lack of inventory has been something that has been an issue that we have been dealing with throughout COVID. On different markets, right? Downtown saw a little bit of an excess in 2020, then it's a little, so we've seen a little bit that. The urban neighborhoods have been performing a little bit differently, but as a vast generalization, which I'm gonna get bastardized for saying.
On Chicago downtown, like city of Chicago.
Inventory has been a little bit non-existent. We came into 2022, right? The COVID conversation was at a better perspective, right? We kind of went from a, hey, we're gonna beat COVID, rah rah, to, hey, we're gonna normalize it. We're gonna learn how to live with it. So the COVID conversation started to die down. The life started to kind of change a little bit, move a little bit differently. We looked to 2022 saying, I'm not expecting a lot of inventory, but we're expecting more. We're expecting some more inventory to trickle through.
On the back end of the year.
Yes,
that's what we predicted in November when we did our like market overview.
Exactly. At the end of 2021, we said we're going to expect to see a little bit of inventory, and boy, were we wrong in that. Now, to be fair, we did not forecast a war overseas.
No, I mean
and we did not forecast what the Fed was going to do with interest rates. Those were our two major screw-ups in what we were advising and seeing and stuff like that. So those two things, what we saw happen, right? We've talked about it before. We had labor shortages, we had supply chain issues. Our inventory in most of our neighborhoods actually went down from 2021 to 2022 between 15 to 25%.
Yeah.
We had none. We went down more.
Further.
And then we made people crazy about interest rates. That's essentially what we saw. Now that we're finally starting to scratch the surface and get a little bit more, now it's like, oh my God, inventory is great. We are still so far below where we need it to be healthy that you and I both know, we talk about all the time. We sit in our Monday morning meetings and say, gosh, this client's waiting for more stuff to come on. This client's waiting for more stuff to come on.
Literally every single one of ours
are just waiting for more inventory. So we are still absolutely at a point where we're eking more out finally, but we're starting from a really, really low number from that perspective.
Well, and then also like what we're kind of seeing with interest rates, people are moving less because that's going to be the other thing. And so, I mean, like what we had initially in 2020 was people didn't want to have people in their houses, and COVID was that thing. Now it's, all right, if we're moving up, are we not? Like, what's going on?
There are a lot of people right now that have mortgages with interest rates under 4%. Those people are now trying to think through whether or not, it's actually slowing down some of those people to sell that home. Not because they're not ready to sell that home, but they're not wanting to get out of that mortgage. That's become a comfortability for them. So we're going to see that aspect as well as we kind of turn this corner, is that we're going to get people that are, I don't want to say stuck, but they're resistant to give up what feels like a really good thing. The fact of the matter is, right, even if you go into everything that we've been talking about, like for the last few years, we've been so hammered about the equity, the inventory, the interest rates, the financials behind what we're doing. But we sell residential real estate.
Yeah.
We sell homes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we have some investment homes in there, but for the most part, we sell homes. And people buy and sell homes for reasons that are far greater than the financial aspect of it. So right now, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna hammer on what's happening and what's this and what's next. But you know what? Life happens. Life constitutes needs for changes in there. And that's one thing that I've actually seen a lot with my clientele and my, kind of seeing this like fixation on parts of the process that aren't necessarily the most important drivers. We talk a lot with our clients about priorities. Why are you buying? Why are you selling? What next chapter are you getting to? So all of this, I'm not saying it's not important, but I also think that sometimes we get so caught up in the minutia of it.
Yeah, backpedal and remind ourselves what is actually going on.
I overpaid for my house 16 years ago. You know what? And then let's see, we bought it in 2006 and we overpaid for it. In 2009, it was worth 70% of what we paid for it. In 2022, it's probably worth 225% of what we paid for it. None of that matters to the time that I've had in that house. And sometimes we get really, really caught up and we get really taken away from the fact that I've got a home that with my husband and my kids, we've created a life in it.
So many memories.
And memories and everything else.